Ohio State Trooper Andrew Clouser recounts what happened March 12, 2014, as if it were just another time he'd been called in early to help.
I typically work afternoon shift, 2 p.m. to 10 p.m., and I had gotten a call from our lieutenant. It was around 11 o'clock in the morning. He said, "Weather's really bad out here. We need everybody to come out."
After responding and clearing the scene of one crash that snowy Wednesday, the 29-year-old then headed to his next call, one that could have been his last.
I go back and I see the van that had been struck. There was a family in there, but I go to open the door to the van to talk to them, see who's hurt, and then that's it. I don't remember anything.
Is he injured?
Kennedy, I'm not sure at this time. I can't get much out of him.
91 Turnpike, I'm crushed between two vehicles. I can't move. I need his water.
Trooper Clouser became pinned between two vehicles, but not vehicles like this. He became pinned beneath two vehicles that were parallel to each other and then got stuck under the vehicles.
I remember thinking that if I don't get out of here soon, I'm not going to make it.
Dispatchers and other officers on the radio thought the same and rushed to the scene.
And when word got out that Andy was hurt and how bad it was, everyone was just like, I'm coming in.
981, can you advise the extent of your injuries? 981, I cannot copy you.
Along with his fellow officers, perfect strangers helped get Clouser free and on his way to the hospital.
My right femur was broken in two places. They had to put a rod in there now. I had 5 broken ribs on my left side, punctured left lung, ruptured spleen, and there was damage to my liver, my kidney, and I had 2 fractures to my lower lumbar.
In critical condition for several days, Clouser initially had his doubts that he'd make it through.
I could barely get out of bed in the morning because of my ribs and my back. I had a hard time sleeping, and I'm thinking, if this doesn't heal, this could be life.
Fortunately for Clouser, his athleticism and age were beneficial in his recovery, as was his support system.
And I received a phenomenal amount of support, not only from the Highway Patrol, but from my family.
After months of undergoing physical therapy at home, Clouser was allowed to return to work in July as part of a transitional return to work program.
I do desk work, whatever paperwork needs to be pushed through to whatever phone calls that need to be made, that sort of thing.
But with no guarantees he'd ever be back in a cruiser.
Here's a guy that just wants to get back to work. He's itching to get back to work, and we're just doing everything we can to keep him busy.
Clouser now hopes to return to the road by the end of next month. Armed with a personal experience, he hopes will teach other drivers an important lesson.
If something should happen to that car and you have to brake immediately if you have appropriate following distance, such as 5 car lengths at 50 miles an hour, there's a good chance you'll be able to stop in time.
A lesson Clouser might not have been able to share with us now because drivers were traveling too closely and too quickly for the weather conditions the day he was hit. In Milan, Ohio, I'm Angie Gonzalez for NBC 24 News.